It has obviously been very turbulent for the past few weeks for the Jeep brand, but in this video, we wanted to go over what our predictions are for the recovery of the Jeep brand in 2025. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We wanted to hit you up with one last video. If you guys celebrated Christmas, holidays, whatever you guys had going on in your family, wanted to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, as well as an awesome New Year. We got a lot of exciting new things coming for 2025. But with that, first thing Jeep needs to do is they need to shed a few pounds, just like most of us do with the new year. And when I talk about shedding a few pounds, that's shedding some inventory off of the dealership lots. It is well known and is not a secret at all that Jeep dealerships are absolutely bloated with inventory. We've covered this in a past few videos where we actually said, is Jeep dead? Jeep inventory is out of control, especially the Wrangler and the Gladiator brand when it is sitting at local dealership lots. And many of these lots don't have the marketing budget nor the influence that we do over the brand and the channels to really get these things out there. The absolutely insane prices that they have gone to over the past year or two, the interest rates that have been through the roof, and the fact that most people were really pushed onto a 4xe that didn't want to purchase one is perhaps the reason we're seeing all of this nightmare when it comes to the local dealership. And you know, in fact, a lot of this has to come to light recently when Carlos actually visited a few dealerships before he made his abrupt exit. And I'm sure he learned a few choice words while he was sitting at the local mom and pop dealerships that are sitting on millions of dollars of inventory that, if most people don't know, you actually have to pay the interest when you have inventory sitting on your lot. It's called a floor plan. So dealerships don't just buy all these Jeeps and sit them on their lot. They actually finance them with a lot of the major financial institutions, and they have to pay interest on Jeeps that aren't selling. Imagine paying interest on a Jeep that's had a few birthdays sitting at your lot. That was always the industry term. If a vehicle has a birthday, that's not a good thing. So the first thing they need to do is clean up the inventory, add some even deeper discounts, because even at 20, 30% off, plus all the added bonuses, we're starting to see some differences in the interest rates. They need to clearance the heck out of these things and just get them gone. And the reason why this is so crucial, they need to make some more room for the Jeep Recon. That's probably our second prediction. We're gonna roll through probably more than 8 here, but the Recon is coming. We've seen spy shots of it. We've seen kind of confirmed sightings in different areas, Detroit, Ohio, kind of rolling around, and that vehicle is coming. I would imagine that even if it was a brainchild of more of an EV push, they've got so much invested into it that it's probably still going to become a reality in a vehicle. And for those of you that don't know what the Recon is, it is basically Jeep's version of an EV vehicle. So what we've been told, it is that it kind of looks like a hybrid cross-child of a Bronco Sport, a Cherokee, and a Wrangler. So the doors can still be removed from what we've seen, but it is an independent front suspension, independent rear suspension EV vehicle, or so we've been told. There's been some rumors that it might be getting a gasoline engine, it might be getting a pure EV, and then maybe with the introduction of the Scout and the Traveler, maybe it's a mixture of the gas-powered generator mixed with an EV battery. We still don't know for sure exactly what that's going to be, but what we do know is that it is slated for the year 2025, and it has been talked about quite a bit. So I think that's going to need to be able to have some room on a dealership lot. And with that being said, will that push the 4xe around? I still don't think that thing's taken as much hold as it has to in the market. I think the way that they pushed it was a little bit wrong. And I think that the fact that they've pushed it so hard in certain states, it's just really clear that people didn't want that on the Wrangler, at least the majority. And don't get me wrong, guys, I don't want to seem like Dirt Road Cred is anti-4xe, because we are not. I love the 4xe concept. I love the idea of it. However, I just think, and Ryan agrees, it needs to make some improvements. Will this new Recon completely push it out of the water now that you can remove the doors on a Recon that's full EV? That's going to be one of the first EVs, I would say, in the world that you can pull the doors off of. Will that push around the 4xe, and will that change the perception of your typical 4xe buyer, your electrification buyer, to now be like, look, I can get something that cruises better on the road in a Recon because of the suspension and still take my doors off if I choose? That's going to be a hard sell. So we will have to see what comes with that. But yeah, I don't know. It might be a pretty big boxing match for the 4xe and the Recon coming up soon. So yeah, one of the next big predictions too, and it's also a fact that they've launched out, that they are returning to Camp Jeep. So Jeep is going to be producing the Camp Jeep experience, which if you guys haven't had a chance to do that, they set up at major automotive shows, at Jeep shows all over the country, and they bring quite a bit of a setup and a display, as well as their demo vehicles and drivers to take you around the track. And Ryan and I did it at the Philly Auto Show. It was fun. Or it was the Detroit Auto Show. They had it out there. I'm a Jeep guy, I've been in instances like that, but when you get up to some of those inclines, it was a really cool experience. And I think for people that haven't been in a Jeep, or maybe they've owned a Jeep in the past, but they haven't experienced it quite that robust or quite that extreme, it's an awesome way to introduce people to your brand and also show you the capabilities that your Wrangler has without having to do it in a kind of an uncontrolled environment. So they will be returning with Camp Jeep, but I think they need to return to a lot more little shows. I think that Jeep needs to show their presence. They need to show that not only they are catering to the high class, the Rubicon X, the Sahara, that kind of buyer, but also they're true to their roots. The smaller events that really have a lot more Jeep enthusiasts at them, Jeep needs to return to. So I can recall when I was growing up, Jeep used to throw a huge showdown at the York Jeep Show. They would bring signs, courses. They actually sponsored the whole rock crawling course. And over the years, it just got less and less and less. So they need to start returning to some of those, bring kind of their full bore, bring special editions, bring new colors. That is where you have the most eyes. It's a Jeep show. If you're going to come out with 41 in the next month, bring 41. Start generating interest, because YouTubers like us and people at the show are going to go, hey, what color is that? Hey, that could be a new color for next year, you know, or mark your calendar for April 1st is we're going to have a cool reveal coming out. It's a way to get back with the brand. And also another thing, bring people that know what they're looking at there too, because that's one thing I cannot stand more, when we go to a show and a booth or a vendor has just paid individuals out there that know nothing about the product. Like, it's just like, here, sign up for this giveaway. And they know, well, what about that tire there? Oh, I have no idea. You know, so bring people that know, that are enthusiasts, that are true to the brand, and can start talking to Jeep people directly at a show, because you're going to hear grievances, the good, the bad, and the ugly right there at a show, and take it with a grain of salt, because it's better to be heard than just left on red. So that's the biggest thing there. Just come to the show, be heard, and maybe start gauging your audience. You could run a poll right there at a Jeep show. Which out of these 3 colors would you like to see next year come out? You're going to get thousands of votes, you know, and you're going to get it from your true audience. So I think that's a must to recover the brand, to start getting out there with the brand. The next thing I think Jeep needs to address for the recovery program is actually addressing and recognizing that there are 2 subsets of Jeep owners. You've got your hardcore rock crawling guys that want a base stripped down rock crawler, and you've got someone that wants a bit of a higher trim, leather power seats, and more of those options inside the vehicle, maybe a quieter ride, street tires, etc. And I think when it comes to ordering a Wrangler, Jeep needs to address that fact. They need to basically have the ability to order exactly what you want and not get something just because it's forced upon you. Bronco actually did a fantastic job when they had that released, is they had so many trims that you could really get exactly what you wanted and then add things in those trims. And Jeep used to do a fantastic job of doing that as well. However, I would disagree that they've done a fantastic job at catering to their true hardcore guys. I know this is hard because a lot of hardcore guys that are watching this thing think that Jeep needs to be strictly that brand, and let's be honest, it would not sell and not be able to give you guys the hardcore trims if you didn't market it to the mass public. So the reason that the Sahara does so well, the high altitude, all these other things, while you may not agree with what's on those trims, by people buying those, it lets the Wrangler brand continue. It lets them still produce a 2-door, lets them produce a 392 for those guys that really want to go crazy. But I think they need to subset both of those off, have the hardcore options for those guys, have the high luxury items for the other groups of individuals that want to purchase those as well. And Jeep used to do a good job at that in the early JL. You had so many engine options, so many color options. You could get the color match flares if you wanted. We've addressed this a few times, but you really could make it your Jeep and you were ordering it. So you might as well make it exactly what you want. But I think the reason we're seeing this more over recently is that the fact that they've kind of stripped down the JL so badly in 2025, where they actually said the only way for you to get the 3.6 engine was with the manual. Well, now here 2 weeks later, they've added the 8-speed auto back. So kind of coincidental that the ex-CEO departed, and now we've got the 8-speed that everyone wanted to continue on the 3.6. I think it was really bad idea of them to kind of control it so narrowly that you couldn't get what you wanted even if you ordered it. So now they're opening that back up, and is that a precursor to what we hope happens, is letting you order what you want. So another huge pet peeve, and something that kind of revolves around the recovery, right? So the recovery of the brand, I think, stems as a whole. And I think it stems as making decisions that are not just personal centric or personalized to you. They're very subjective. You know, it's just, I think 4xe is going to be the next thing, or I think 392 is going to be the future. It's making decisions that make smart business sense. The biggest one that we'll die on this hill about this. I think this is just the worst thing that they could have done, is making the 41 edition exclusive to the 4xe model. I don't care what anyone says, that was the dumbest decision so far that I've seen for the 2025 model year. You have the perfect ability and the perfect edition that you've actually released and launched and shown to the public, and you are strangleholding this or gatekeeping it only to the 4xe trim, when it could easily be applied to a regular Willys or a sport trim. I don't care what anyone says, I'm looking at our 41 color Jeep right behind us and our awesome plans with what we've got so many parts already on this thing. The audience wants a gas version, and then the audience wants a 4xe or a plug-in version. But you cannot alienate the audience that wants just that gas version. Ryan said this before too. The audience that's looking for a more of a commemorative, more of a World War II-esque model, they're not gonna want a 4xe. I actually saw a huge, hilarious, funny post on JL Wrangler forums talking about it, and it basically like depicted if 4xes were back in World War II and like, hey Sarge, where's my unit? Oh, it's back at the charging station. I need to drive this thing into Paris, you know. Just put the dang trim on the standard gas models. I don't know how many times we're gonna have to say this until maybe we just partner up with, we can't say too much, but we have some crazy ideas for not this Jeep, but another maybe build in the future. And yeah, you gotta do it. Make the 41 edition for the gas model. If you don't, you're just wasting a perfectly good color, an awesome color, which we're starting to see. Rubicon X's get delivered, two doors getting delivered. This is a popular color. A lot of people have this ordered. So why not capitalize on that and make a cool edition for the gas models? Another thing we think is possible, and it's probably a good prediction for the year 2026, is that we might see a very mild refresh or almost like a mid-cycle refresh of the JL. So obviously we saw that in 2024 with the new grille, the interior, the power seats, and some other things, the curtain airbags that were coming out. But I'd like to see almost like a mid-cycle refresh in the year 2026, or at least for the 2026 model year. So typically they come out in the middle of the year. That's when we've always seen them, from May to about the July timeframe is when the next model year will come out. So for instance, 2020 came out in like May for the 2021 model year. So we would see what next year's model year held, what options we were going to have, and then also if there was any updates to it. Our predictions, or what we would like to see, will be maybe some new colors. I would love, we're big on colors. I mean, we love to have that option of exactly what you want. And I think that maybe that was the ex-CEO's decision, Ryan, because when the 25s came out, there was like 6 colors. Remember, it was like Firecracker Red, Granite, these like very bland colors, and then these started to come out. But that initial launch of a new model year in 6 colors that were all just like black, white, red, gray. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like Jeep people, we're like, I mean, Brian from Distinction Applied says it's like a bag of Skittles. Yeah. All the bright colors. People love bright colors on these things. But a mild refresh, because the year 2028, the new Wrangler will come out, whatever that looks like. A mild refresh, we'd love to see a digital dash. I have been jealous of my wife's in the 2021 Grand Cherokee L for quite some time now, since it came out. And I would love to see a digital one to kind of flow through just with that brand new 12.3 Uconnect. I think a digital dash that would fit behind there, use the same kind of mounting style that what's currently in there, so it wouldn't require a whole dash redesign, but just drop a digital one in there, and then maybe that comes out for the 2028 model year. But I know in the majority of Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram vehicles, the Rams, the Dodges, the Jeep Grand Cherokees, the Compasses, the Hornets, they all have digital dashes. All of them. I mean, Jeep's always last on the pecking order when it comes to updates, and I understand it's because you have that small group that's like, we don't want to see any updates, we don't want to see upgrades. But if you're paying what you are, we've addressed this, you might as well get as much as you can. So digital dash, maybe some factory paddle shifters on everything. But it rings true to 2025. The best thing that we've seen is that power windows and power locks are now standard on all of these. So will we see something like that where things become completely standard like a digital dash? We would just love to see. So that's a cool prediction, and I'm hoping they can make it true. I'm really hoping that special editions make a bigger comeback. I think that there is quite a bit of the audience that has either a personal connection with a special edition or just likes what they look like. Over the years, Jeep has done this throughout the turntables of time. They have done so many special editions, so many collabs, and I think that just over the years as they progressed, you either had them hit or miss, but most of them had some really crazy cool things done to them, some custom seats, custom exterior pits. And as the JL progressed, we just didn't see as much of more of a detailed special edition. We kind of saw it as maybe a graphics package and a little bit of stitching on the seat, but we really didn't see things that were crazy. The only thing I would say that was really cool in the JL was the Islander package, when we actually got a white top, white dash, custom wheels on that, and some really cool badging on the outside. And now we saw it with the 41 on the 4xe. Are they coming back to more of a special edition that holds more custom parts? That edition is getting custom wheels, tan seats, really a lot more done to it. And what we would like to see in the future is that kind of revitalized. Maybe some collabs, maybe some special editions that really held a specialty to it. Something more than just a decal package. What I mean by that, I would almost love to see a clothing brand get back into the mix. So you guys might say, what are you talking about, a clothing brand? You had the Levi's edition edition CJ5, CJ7, you had the Levi's edition as well. In the TJ, we had a Columbia edition, so Columbia outerwear. And then even in the JK, we had a Filson edition. So Filson makes high-class leather and different accessories out west. That was more of an AEV. You can only order it through them. But I'd almost love to see an edition where maybe it's Dixon Flannels or one of these bigger brands work with Jeep and make a custom edition. That would be really cool for us to see because they've done it so much over the years. The second thing I would personally like to see, a Golden Eagle trim. Golden Eagle trim packages are probably held most in my heart just because I grew up with the CJ7 Golden Eagle that my dad drove. And that trim on the JK looked fantastic with the huge eagle across the hood. And then the same with the TJ, they did it. So maybe a JL, Golden Eagle trim, start with like a Rubicon so you have that really cool hood on there, and then really make it a detailed edition. Throw on some gold wheels like they used to do back in the day. That would be sick. And I know if they do it right, people are gonna buy it. It's gonna become a trim that is sought after. I know the TJs hold their value very well in the Golden Eagle, as well as the JKs. Those are a really cool trim, and I think on the JL, that would be pretty sick. The last one, and probably the biggest one that we are already starting to see kind of the changes happen, is the recovery of the V8. Our V8, our precious Hemis that I love so much. I've got a 392 in mine. I absolutely love our V8 powered Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram vehicles. And I think we're gonna start to see a recovery of that. So over the past few years with that CEO being in place, we kind of started to see the slow demise and the slow removal of everything high horsepower, big engines, big blocks, everything else in there. We started to see that removal and the electrification push, or the smaller engine push. You know, the Dodge Hornets, you had vehicles like that, the Chargers and Challengers, Last Call, Final Call, Jailbreak Edition, all these to remove the V8s, to go towards electrification, V6s. And then we saw it on the TRX. We saw the removal of 6.2 liter Hellcat to now turned into the RHO, which is the 3-liter twin turbo Hurricane. We saw it on the Wrangler, the Final Call, what is it called? Final Edition? Final Edition. We saw it on the 392. We saw it kind of across the board, and just everyone was making the same statement. We don't want it to go away. Like, just, I understand the electrification. I understand having more fuel efficient engines. Offer that. Still keep it out there. But we want the V8s. They're excellent engines. They're tried and true. They've been in these vehicles for so long, and the structures are already there for them. You know, I think we're already seeing the changes of that, right? So just within the past 3 weeks, the Dodge Durango has announced that they will be continuing the 5.7 Hemi and the 6.2 Hellcat for the year 2025. I have a feeling that the TRX will be returning. I have a feeling that a lot of the Rams and their Hemis will be returning. And then the biggest thing that I am predicting, besides this one thing, I think the 392 Wrangler is going to continue to, and it won't be a final edition. I think it's just going to come back out as standard. I think the biggest thing to make a statement on Jeep's brand as a nameplate, recovering, reviving, making it look good again, is adding the V8 to the Gladiator. Putting it in there either standard or as an option on there, but putting the V8 in the Gladiator. Everyone has argued this for the past, what has the Gladiator been now? 5 years? Since 2020, why is it not in there? And then a slap in the face was when in 2021, it came out in the Wrangler. When really, I know there's a slight differences in the frame rails and the chassis and all that, but from the back door forward, it's basically the same on the Wrangler and the Gladiator. So we know it fits, we know it'll work. It's probably just figuring out how much power does it need to be able to hold on that rear axle? Is there some other engineering feats that need to be done for it? But dear gosh, just make it available on the Gladiator. You've got 3 more years until the new Wrangler or Gladiator, whatever comes out. Make a statement, put it in there, and put it at a reasonable price. Put it at, I don't even want to say a reasonable price because I don't know what that is anymore, seeing that the 392s are over 100K for those. But put one in the Gladiator. We've asked this forever. Everyone's asked about it, but do it and you guys will make a statement. You'll be pretty set. I think that they would sell. That's my biggest prediction. I think that they would sell. And not only that, I know that they would sell. If they're not, $110,000, you know, something crazy like that. If you put them in at like Rubicon money, like 60 to 70 with a V8, even a 5.7, I think that's your ticket. And I think that's a way to make a statement and recover the brand and show the listeners and the Jeep audience that you are listening to them. So as we close out our predictions for the new year, let's talk about a little bit of what we're doing here, Ryan. So we've got our 2025 sitting next to us. And while that build it did take a pause, we've been doing a lot off camera on this Jeep. So we've got some really cool content coming out for the start of the new year. And for you guys that have been wondering where all the 41 two-door content is, that's where it is. It has been filmed, it is being edited, and it's gonna be some really, really sick content as we work on that Jeep throughout the rest of kind of 2025 till Daytona. That's when our initial launches for that to be seen in person will be Daytona. Hopefully we can finish it off camera or like on camera before Daytona and then bring it there as its first debut in person. But that's what we're doing. We've got so many boxes of parts laying around. I don't even know where to put the rest of the stuff. I mean, wheels are over there. We've got all sorts of stuff. I don't even talk about what we've got because there's just so much of it and we're starting to run out of space for it. But that is the plan with that. So for you guys that have been waiting, that is what's happening with that build. And we'd love to hear your feedback on that too. Maybe still hit us up with those World War II stories from your family, from your friends. We've got a really cool group of people that we're talking with. So please send us even more of those if you have them. But thank you guys so much for everything that you've been able to allow us to do, for all your support, everything that you've given to us and that we've been able to give back to you. It's only possible by our viewers. And for all of that, we wanted to thank you and wish you and your families a very happy new year from Ryan behind the camera. And for me here in front of it, we want you to get out there and earn yours.